Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Real Stories of Hurting Moms. My name is Cathy Taylor, and I have my friend Marietta with me tonight. She's going to be sharing, and we're just excited to be here. We've just been talking about just how phenomenal it is the way this brings moms together from all over the U.S. and Canada. Marietta's in Ontario, Canada, and so I never dreamed about that. I never thought we'd have a bunch of Canadian moms and groups in Canada. It's been awesome, really awesome.
It is. It's amazing.
So we're excited about that. We're gonna talk. Marietta's gonna share in just a second. I have a couple things that I want to do. My usual kind of housekeeping items. First of all, if you're watching for the very first time, let us know about that. Let me know that this is your first time watching. I love to see when there's new people watching. Also, if you tell me where you are watching from. And in fact, we have a Canadian, Marietta's a Canadian. If you're in Canada, put the little emoji of the Canadian flag. Let her know that she's got some fellow Canadians out there watching. And it's fun. And they put that little, the little flag. So I'll let you know if we get some people that are saying they're from Canada. And then the other thing, one of the first things I want to tell you about, and then we're going to get in tonight, we're going to be talking about the misbeliefs that we have as hurting moms, which are the things that I think hurt us, that cause us the pain. We don't even realize it, but kind of be able to put a name on it and identify it is sometimes helpful. So we're going to talk about that. But I do want to tell you something. We have a brand new website. Most of you know we're becoming our own nonprofit organization. And so Hurting Moms, Mending Hearts, Inc. is already a corporation, and we have a board of directors. And so we're in the process right now of filing all the paperwork for it to become a nonprofit or a 501(c). So with that, we have started a new website, and it's hurtingmomsmendinghearts.org. And so instead of Hurting Moms Mending, it's just hurtingmoms.com. The new website is hurtingmomsmendinghearts.org. So go there when you're looking for our website, and then bookmark that page. Be sure to bookmark the page. So it looks exactly like the old website. Everything's the same on it, but it's just where we want people to go now. It's a new where we're going to be paying a lot of attention. So hurtingmomsmendinghearts.org, and I'll remind you about that again. There'll be a link somewhere on the video, and there's links all over our Facebook page to that website as well. So Marietta, why don't you share with us a little bit just about your story, how you became a leader of Hurting Moms and all that stuff.
Okay, well, hello, everybody. Yes, I'm Marietta. I am from Ontario, Canada. And I think I was first introduced to Hurting Moms back in 2017. And at the time, I had been estranged from my daughter for 3 years, and we were nowhere near reconciling. And so when Hurting Moms came along, I thought, well, that's me. So I got in touch with Cathy, and we started a Hurting Moms group here in a local church where I belong. And so we've been having the Hurting Moms meetings probably 3 times a year. So we've done them 5 or 6 times, I guess I should say. Yes. But one of the things, and I hope you don't mind, Cathy, I'm going to plug your book.
No.
One of the things that really helped me was Cathy's book called A Hurting Mom, the story of a hurting mom. And we're going to talk about the misbeliefs tonight, and that's where I found the misbeliefs, was in the book. And I think as women in general, we have a lot of things that we believe about ourselves that are not true. You know, we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not whatever. And for me personally, being a mom, it just kind of compounded all the things that I was not.
Yeah.
And so there were certain lies that I believed. I was convinced that I was the only one that had this issue with their children. I would see pictures of families on Facebook, and I would see, smiling faces at church, and, everyone was also great. And my daughter and I were estranged, and there was probably no hope of ever reconciling. So I felt ashamed and embarrassed because my daughter was not like everybody else's daughter, and our relationship was not the same as everybody else's.
And you felt
So
like,
that was
you said you felt like you were like the only one. So that was probably, it's a big aha. A lot of moms tell me just being on the Facebook page and realizing, oh my gosh, there's so many of us.
Yeah.
There's something pretty powerful about that.
Yeah. So, and, even trying to find a birthday card or something,
Yes.
you open up the cards in the store and you read them, and it's like, well, that doesn't fit. So I would buy a blank card and just write in it, happy birthday, and send it to her.
Wow.
But so I think that was the biggest misbelief, was that I was all by myself. And when I stumbled across the Hurting Moms program and learned about the Hurting Moms groups, I really, really felt that it was something that was going to be beneficial, not just for me, but for the other women in my church, because there were other women who were hurting, maybe not as publicly as I was, but they were hurting. So I started the group, and I had about 5 or 6 women come to the first group, and we had a great time of just open communication and sharing stories, understanding that, boy, some people had it worse than I did. I was feeling sorry for myself because of my situation, but there were some moms that were really, really hurting.
Yeah.
So I think one of the big things that I learned through the Hurting Moms group that I led, the first one, we go through the workbook. Does everybody know about the workbook, Cathy?
I don't know. This is how it works. We in these small groups, the Hurting Moms support groups, we use a workbook.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. So the workbook, as we worked through it, I realized that it wasn't all my fault. Number one, I had made mistakes as a mom, and just about everybody else has, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't need to feel guilty about it, because it wasn't all my fault. Some things just happen. And I didn't have to feel like a failure. And I invited God into my walk, and he really helped me through the times when I was feeling guilty and feeling down on myself that I was a bad mom. I guess the other misbelief that was in your book, Cathy, was the fact that I could fix my child. So I thought I could fix her. I thought if I got her in a place by herself where we could talk, then I could just talk her out of whatever she was doing and just make her see the light and have her understand that this is the way it should be. And of course, that didn't happen. And really and honestly, it was a 3-year journey. And I think one of the things that really awakened me was we were having a discussion one day, and I was telling her what she should do again. And she said, "Mom, I'm not 5 years old. You don't need to tell me what to do." And it wasn't until she said that that I understood that she was an adult.
Yeah.
I no longer had control.
That's so, and that's the thing. It's that control thing. We're the mom, and we're used to them, from the time they've been born, we've been in control, and they listen to us. And this whole thing about trying to fix them, like what the misbelief, the way it's worded is, we believe that if we just keep trying hard enough, we're going to be able to get them to turn around. We're going to fix them. And I mean, ladies, I've had many moms talk to me about how they stalk their kids on Facebook, how they, they're trying everything they can to get involved in what their child is doing or not doing, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. We have to be able to surrender them to the Lord and know that he loves them more than we do. He created them. But we end up losing our own lives because we are so busy trying to fix them. And eventually, well, I know you have a good ending, at least a good time at this point in your
Yes.
story.
Yes. Well, it took 3 years of rebuilding trust, of taking small steps forward and small steps back, of implementing the things that I learned from the workbook and in our group, to establish some sort of an agreement with my daughter with regards to how we were going to move forward. And, you know, one of the other misbeliefs in the book, Cathy, is that I'll never have peace or joy again. And I truly believe that. I thought it was just going to be like this forever. But everybody, I just want to encourage you so much, because my daughter and I have come so far over the last 2.5 years, 3 years, is that I don't identify myself as a hurting mom anymore, because I'm not hurting now. I'm healed, and our relationship is healed. So one of the things that really helped me was the verse in Isaiah 26:3 is, God said, I will keep in perfect peace him whose eyes are fixed on me. And I just had to remember to keep turning towards God and keep fixing my eyes on God. And that way I was no longer always obsessing about my daughter, always trying to change the situation. And we came to a point, where we just, there's a level of acceptance now between the two of us.
And I think, your story is, it's a good, right now you're in a good place. A lot of these moms in 3 years, for a lot of these moms seems like nothing. Some of these moms have been going through this for like 15 years. And I think the whole thing about having peace and joy, it's not about that we can't have peace and joy until we're restored, till our relationships are restored. Marietta is very blessed that they've had restoration in their relationship, but we can have peace and joy in our lives, even in the midst of it, even in the midst of the struggle with our child, because our peace and joy is not going to come from our kid, no matter what. It comes from God. It comes from the Lord by turning towards him. And so that's one of the things I discovered was, wow, I can have a sense of peace. I don't have to wake up with this anxiety all the time, because if I set my sights on God, it helped. It was like, so no matter what the child is doing, we can be okay. Kathy West says 17 years she's been going through it.
Yeah.
And
I'll let the ladies in on a little secret. My daughter's 50 years old, and we've gone through this for the last 30.
Yeah.
So,
there you go. It's not just a 3-year thing. It was 3 years
it took
of
a long
restoration.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took a long time, but you know what? It's so worth it to keep trying.
Yeah.
And I'm in a different place now because I have been healed, because I did go through the groups that we reshared information, where there was a sisterhood, that we supported each other. If I was having a bad day, I'd call someone and maybe cry on the phone and say, this is what happened, this is what she said. So there's a support system there. And I think that's what's so great about the whole Hurting Moms program.
And it's even to be able to do that. And also, for me, it's been huge knowing that other people were praying for me. Like, when you're praying for each other and you're not the only one praying for your child. You've got this whole community of people praying for your child and praying for you. And that all comes, like I've said a million times, this coming on Facebook like this is amazing. You guys are able to see your comments. I see you. I love when I see them commenting back and forth and encouraging each other. And that's a huge part of it. But being in one of the groups, and they last for 10 weeks. And like Marietta said, we use that workbook. That's where you're going to really get the tools. That's where you're going to get the tools. That's where you're going to get up close and personal with other moms that are in the same situation, where you're going to really build relationships, deep relationships. And if there's not a group in your area, and you can find out if there is by going to hurtingmomsmendinghearts.org and going to find a group, and you go to a local groups, and there's a map, and you can see if there's a group in your area. If there's not, please, please, please consider joining an online group. It's an amazing experience. And most of us are like, oh, I don't know how to do that technology stuff. But it's really, really easy. And we've had hundreds of moms go through them now, and it really makes it's amazing. It really makes a big difference. So I don't know if we talked about this one. Well, first I want to say the autobiography that she was showing, it's my story all the way from the time I was a little girl, all the way up through my adulthood, the mistakes I made, becoming a hurting mom, and then what God did in my life. And then the last 4 chapters are I wrote on the 4 misbeliefs, the things that I think are what cause us the pain. And like Marietta said, it's like we think we're the only one. We think nobody else, because nobody talks about this, right? Nobody talks about it because we're ashamed. We think it's our fault. We haven't talked about that much yet, but we blame ourselves. And in my case, I did some serious messing up when my children were young. And you can read about it in the book, but I had a big part in it. And then thirdly, that if we keep trying, we'll be able to fix them. And then finally, we think, and these are misbeliefs again, we think that we will be able to, we can't have peace or joy till they turn around. And so the last 4 chapters of the book are on each one of those. And the other place that you can get that is there's a link, there'll be a link above this video for the autobiography. There's also one for something that's called an audio collection. And so this is new. I'm pretty excited. We have these little, what are those called? Flash drives, little thing that has the Hurting Moms logo. And they're me. It's those 4 talks, individual talks, plus there's some other talks that I've done. So it's an audio collection, and there's a link above for that as well, that you can get that. So just wanted to share that with you. But yeah, the misbeliefs, we all relate. Everybody relates to those misbeliefs.
Yes, Cathy, I don't see any comments on my end, but do you see any comments there?
Any comments? There's people from, let's see, what do you say? Norma Duncan says, after my son had a stroke, I was even more determined to work on his healing. And, she said her first attempt was to contact healthy friends and ask them to surround him. She meddled but she said it didn't work. She's healthier now, but he's in the same place. Kathy West says, I do it online. She's in an online group, and she said her group is wonderful. I'm going to look down here because I saw some people there's Teresa's here from Loganville, Georgia. Winnie is here from Washington. Carla Hartman has been estranged from her son and has been praying for him that their relationship will be restored. We've got Dylan from Texas, Cynthia from Ventura. We've got, I just saw I think some people are putting the emojis of the Canadian flag, but it's not showing up on my thing. So Renee Gursky, maybe, I don't know, Ruth Beatty, she's in Parry Sound, Ontario. Is that anywhere near you? You're in Ontario.
Not close, but it's in Ontario.
Yeah. We've got Renee Jessup's here from Kentucky. See, we have Celine Tichkowski, who looks like she's in Canada. We have Sandy from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Wow.
Darla Alexander, we have Henny. These are a lot of Canadians. Celine again. Yeah. So a lot of them are just saying where they're from. We've got people from Kansas and and a couple of women are writing about how their grandchildren. I mean, it's one thing when their children turn their backs on them, but when there's grandchildren involved, that's doubly painful because then they take the grandchildren too.
Yes, I have 2 grandchildren that I haven't seen for about 18 years.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, yes, I can relate to those
it's painful.
situations. Well, yes, it is. It is. But like you said, we can have joy and contentment even with regards to our circumstances and situations when we turn to God's word and find comfort in and have a sisterhood where we can share and support each other. It just means so much.
It does. I still have to use these tools. I have to use these tools. I go through stuff with my kids. If somebody's not okay, then my first reaction is not to be okay, and then I have to stop and go, no, wait a minute. God's got them. I can't fix it. And I have my own things that God's calling me to do that I need to do. And so he's always faithful in that. He's always faithful when I start to feel churned up or that anxiety. Man, ladies, I remember, and I still occasionally do, but I have tools now to move beyond it. But that waking up in the morning with that sick feeling, that churning in your stomach, and going to bed with it at night and praying I won't wake up so I won't start thinking about anything. And it starts taking a toll on our health, actually, our physical health.
Yeah, I know. I think I hated when the phone rang because I knew it was going to be something. And Facebook messages, like I just never knew what I was going to look at when I opened up my Facebook. So yeah, there's all those things, right? All those things that can go wrong, and you know, my daughter's moods affected my moods, and my mood affected my husband's mood, and you know, it just was kind of going around and around in a circle. So
that's
I'm just glad.
right? Codependency.
Yeah.
Codependent with our kids. It's like that. One of the descriptions that I love of codependency is when you wake up in the morning and you think about the other person, and you say, what kind of day are we going to have today? If your day is revolving around, or your mood is revolving around what someone else is doing, then there's a problem. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
That's right. You know, Cathy, it's funny because I never thought about this until just now, but becoming a hurting mom's leader was the beginning of me separating from my daughter's situation and circumstances and doing something on my own that caused me to focus on something other than her. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, I think, don't you think too that once we get these tools, as we go through the group and we're given tools, we get tools, and it helps us to be able to cope, tools to be able to use. We learn how to pray for them. I don't know about you moms out there, but I got to the point where I just couldn't pray anymore. I didn't know what to say anymore. I felt like my prayers weren't being answered. I felt like, and I didn't realize that God gives us free will, including our kids' free will. So, you know, where he could answer my prayers was to give me peace and to give me joy. I just had to start turning in that direction. But I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that. But I just feel like Pam says, "Me too, Marietta." So we just, we get so focused on them and we lose sight of our own lives, of the other people in our lives. It ends up destroying our other relationships. I said a few minutes ago, it takes a toll on our health because we're not sleeping right, we're not eating right, and that anxiety, and we don't have to live in that. We don't. And I discovered that God is so faithful. And so that's why when I talk about these groups, ladies, I'm not like trying to sell something. I just know that it works. I have seen hundreds of thousands of moms' lives change. Marietta is one of them. I know my life changed by going through it, by writing it. And I just know that it breaks my heart that so many moms are hurting over their kids. I just want moms to know you don't have to live in that. You do not. Renee says, my whole life revolved around what was happening with my kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I mean, that's normal because we are mothers, right? But our whole focus can't be on these children because they're not little anymore. They're adults.
That's right.
And, they have lives of their own. And sometimes I have to be honest, Cathy, sometimes I interfered in what God wanted to do in my daughter's life. And, I was messing things up and I just had to step back and just stop it. And there's in the workbook, we deal with letting go of our children. And that's when I needed the support of the people in the group, because we all talked about how hard it was because we thought we were abandoning our children, but we had to come to the understanding that we're not abandoning them. We're still supporting them. We still love them. We're still there for them. We're just not going to allow them to destroy themselves while we sit by and, get affected by that. Yeah. And once you let go, I think that changes how you respond to your child, how you react to your child, and how your child reacts to you. And,
Mhm.
my daughter looks at me and she said, I'm proud of you, Mom, because of the way you are now. Because I could be a little grumpy sometimes.
That's saying it nicely. I don't think my kids would use that nice term about me, but I know what you mean. And when we turn our focus to God, when we turn our focus to the Lord, it changes us for the better in every aspect of our lives, not just in dealing with our kids, but with our spouses, our friends, our other family members, at work, in our neighborhoods. It makes a big difference. Pam says, and this, I hear this all the time too. My situation with my son brought me back to God after a long, long spiritual drought. And ladies, for me, I had walked away from God for 30 years, and it was my pain over my daughter, the pain that I was in, the agonizing pain, that I came back to the Lord, and He was so faithful in healing me. And so I often say it's kind of too bad that we have to get that desperate before we come to God, but He uses these things in our lives. He uses these rough situations, the times that we're hurting, to draw us to Himself. Dylan says that this being a hurting mom has definitely affected her health, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Yeah.
And that's so true, isn't it?
Yes, I used to suffer terribly with anxiety, especially when the phone would ring or, I got a text message. This anxiety just suddenly arose up in me if I knew it was from my daughter. And so, yeah, it does affect your health. It does affect your health.
Yeah. I love this. Sherry says, when I put my son in God's hands, things go better. It's not perfect, but it's a work in progress. I'm trusting God to finish the work, and my son is starting to trust Him too. And so it seems like I hear this all the time, and I know it was true for me. As soon as I got more hands off, like, pulled back, stopped trying to control or manipulate or fix or stop,
Yeah.
that was when things started to get better. Because once they realize, as long as they have us there as a safety net, they feel like they're immortal because, mom is always going to be there. But as soon as we pull back, sometimes it shapes them up because they realize, I better get my act together. So you never know. You tried everything else. You might as well try that, right?
Oh, well, yeah. My daughter has now come to know the Lord.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And it's a journey for her. To me, she's not making progress fast enough, but stop it, Mom. She is growing. She's learning. She's open to listen to God, and she's building a life of her own now. I mean, she's 50 years old, and I'm just so happy for her now because she didn't have much of a life before that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Some of us, like you said, we've been going through this a long time. We have, I don't know, some of our kids are adults. They've been adults, and we're seeing them, it hurts because we see them kind of wasting their life away, their time away.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And we know there's an answer. We know that's better. I pray every day for my kids, and I've still got kids that don't know God. And I've shared before, I have a son that's an alcoholic, and he'll answer me if I text him. And we said, but he doesn't come around much. And I get sad when I see his Facebook post because it always involves a beer bottle or, he's always, always something to do with that. And but I just keep praying, because I feel like, man, he's missing so much. They think that's the fun life, but they're missing so much joy.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
It is hard. So we're already like 30 minutes. The time goes pretty fast, huh, when we're doing this. So fast. So just as the final reminder, we have a new website, hurtingmomsmendinghearts.org. O-R-G. Please go there and then bookmark that so that's the website that you use for us now. It looks just like the other one. You'll be familiar with it, but we want to start getting used to that one. And the other thing is, let's see, there's the misbeliefs. So we've been talking about the misbeliefs, the 4 misbeliefs that we have. There's a link above to both a audio collection. It's on a little thumb drive that you can get, where I'm talking about those 4 misbeliefs. They're 4 individual talks. Those misbeliefs are also in the back of my autobiography, and there's a link to that above too. So what it is, we try so much to have resources, resources. The more resources we can provide to help you get to a better place. I hope that these broadcasts every week give you a little glimmer of hope, or it helps you feel like you're part of the community, because you are. And Tanya says, it's great mothers are talking about this. No one understands unless they're going through it. And
that's right.
So true. So true. Marietta, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I appreciate it. And
thank you.
One day I'm going to see you in person. I say that. I have all these friends that are all over the U.S. and Canada, and I can't wait to get around and hug everybody. That's the one bad thing about technology, right?
For sure.
So, but thanks for being here with me. Good luck on your next group. Which one will you do another one? Probably in the fall?
Yeah, in the fall we'll be doing another one.
Yeah, so good luck with that. And any moms up there in Ontario, what city are you in? I'm
in Brantford.
That's right, Brantford. Anybody up in near Brantford, Ontario, if you'd like to be in a local group, Marietta's her email is on our map on the group locator, so you can go there and click on the Ontario group, and she will get back to you and give you the information on the next group. So,
sure.
All right. Well, God bless you all, ladies. Every week I tell you, and I'm going to keep telling you every week, I pray for you every day. I wake up thinking about hurting moms. I go to bed thinking about hurting moms. And I love this community. It is so amazing for me. It gives me so much joy. So even in the midst of sometimes some sorrowful times. So take care. Have a wonderful week. And I'll be back next week. I'm going to be alone next week. Next week, my husband and I are going on a little road trip. And so I'm coming on, but I'll be in a hotel room. Maybe I'll get him to come on here with me. Probably not. I'll try. So, all right. Take care, everyone. Love you all. Good night.